All right, just a side note. Spurs are a extension of your leg. They are an aid. They are not made um, to make a horse go faster or to go sideways. They are not a magic pill, nothing like that. So I just wanted to make sure that y'all understand this. If you do not have good control of your legs, do not be using spurs. Find an instructor, take some lessons. You don't want to rub a raw hole into your horse from inappropriate use of spurs. If you don't understand the mechanics of a spur, don't be using a spur. And also understand that you can't just throw a pair of spurs on and it's a magic pill. That is not the case. And some horses don't need spurs by all means. Most do not need spurs. When we use our leg, we are not constantly using spurs. We add leg, use our thighs, use our calves, use the side of our foot before we incorporate that spur. We may then slightly touch that spur. Most horses, even the jingle of the spur, they know it's coming. So please do not think that spurs are, a necessity. Many people ride without them. Spurs are not created to be evil or mean. They can be overused. There can be other instances of abuse, but it is not a certain thing. So please don't be thinking that way. And like I said, if you need help or need more guidance, please get an instructor so that you can understand how to safely and properly use one. That is the biggest thing, and don't just go thinking every horse has had spurs on. This particular mare is a 7-year-old mare. She has not been ridden in about 2 years, so she's had some time off, slowly bringing her back, and she has never had spurs on. And so what I am doing is I'm actually taking that spur and I am rolling it against her side, kind of letting her get used to the noise, get her used to the feel. And I'm actually going to ask her then there to move over with that spur. And you kind of saw she kind of jumped sideways a little bit. That is, depending on the horse, can be the normal reaction, or it can be, a mild reaction, or it can be a severe reaction. I've had some horses go leaping sideways, just like lightly rolling, and I've had some that they go, I don't know what that is, and you're gonna have to do more to make me move. So you just have to kind of gauge it to them, lightly touch it, let them hear that rolling, if you have a rail on them. And then same thing as I do on the ground where I get them to flex and then move their hips over. I do the same thing. And you can kind of see she's a little irritated by that. She's not really sure, but she did move over, so I do reward her for that. I kind of roll that spur, where my leg would be, hanging naturally behind, in front of the back cinch, even up on their shoulder, because there are some times where we do put our leg up in front of the shoulder just to tap them over, especially if we're teaching moving the front end over or something. And so once she got good with that, I got on her and I let her sit for a second. That is very common for me. I don't just get on and, hey, let's go. I make them sit before we walk off, do a little flexing, do a little bending, that sort of thing. I might back them up. It just depends on the horse, and it depends on what stage of training they are in. And so here I'm going real slow, just kind of taking that leg, bumping a little bit, adding some of that pressure to the spur with it, and letting her feel that on her side, because that is, it's something new. And so she's going to have to kind of get used to it. And not only from the point of just the walk, but we will do all 3 gaits here. Kind of let her know that, oh, that's what that is. That's what that means. She doesn't have a ton of lateral work yet as far as side passing or moving her front end. She's got a basic walk, trot, lope, forward, some stop. you know, a little bit of backup. She's not great at it. Like I said, she sat for quite a while. She started as a 2-year-old. Time got away, kicked out to the pasture, pulled up intermittently. I think as she was a 4-year-old, maybe as a 5-year-old as well, and then she sat the last 2 years in the pasture again. So nothing against her. It's just sometimes when you're a trainer and you own a horse, that horse that you own gets the back burner. So as you can see, she's doing pretty good. You know, I'm just kind of doing some baby circles, just kind of bumping lightly with that leg and that spur to let her know that, you know, if you don't listen to my leg, then you will get the, you know, you will be bumped with the spur. And that's not the worst case. And here she starts to trot a little bit and go forward. And there she really did think she wanted to steer. So we incorporated a little bit of that all so that she could go forward. Nothing bad, nothing wrong. She did get a little worried in this video, and you'll see that a little later where she gets a little faster. She gets her head up a little bit more. There she didn't want to steer. She was kind of having a little bit of issues. That's okay. But mostly getting her to realize what that spur means. Even though she knew what the leg meant, she, after having 2 years off, she kind of got lazy. She got really heavy. And so just needing a little extra assistance with that. You see she kind of gets her ears pinned back. Her tail is swishing a little bit. And a lot of this is due to she's not quite sure what those spurs are. And, you know, by golly, she sat in that pasture for the last 2 years. So why should she have to work now? And there she does a pretty decent stop. Then she goes into raising her head and not really backing very well. And so that is something that does need to continue to be worked on. And you'll see through the video and in the following videos, it is something that we've worked on as well. Everything that we do, we make sure that these horses can go back, do some basics, and that they have a good understanding of it all. If they struggle, it doesn't mean that you can't go backwards. This mare is in a snaffle. She's in a dog bone, three-piece snaffle, and there's nothing wrong with that. She still has a long ways to go before she's in a shank bit. There she gets a little worried. She starts trotting, and I just wait for her to come back down to the walk. And I'm trying to get her to just kind of curve her body around my leg at that walk. And she's kind of struggling, but you kind of see her go back and forth, walk, trot, trying to figure out what I'm asking her to do. She kind of gets stiff on me. She doesn't really bend. There she started to, you know, really, drive up under herself with that hind leg, which is great. And I try to get her to just kind of relax while she's doing it, not pull against me, not get tight. Like there, she got a little tighter. She got a little cranky. I also try to keep my hand real low. It's not up real high. If I need to just kind of fixate it on my leg to help me stabilize it, that is what I will do. And I'll do that in a lot of different instances. That way, they can't kind of pull it off, or you don't exactly remember where it's at. Kind of where they need to be. And there she kind of got heavy again, so I just kind of bump her off of it. Staying light at the same time. She kind of goes out of the frame there. She really didn't think she knew what to do with that leg and with her hips. She kind of started to struggle. And so there we switched sides. We finally kind of got somewhere, but switched sides, and yep, that does happen. And so you just have to go back and say, you know what, That's not acceptable right now. I understand that you don't understand maybe, but that is unacceptable. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. We still don't do it. We don't have to do it. And so there I just kind of put her back to work. Not only am I making her move, made her hips move first, but now I'm really kind of driving her. Let her know that, you know, she can move if she needs to move, if that's what she feels like. If she feels like she's got to move, that's fine. And that's basically what she did. She decided she had to go forward. She had to lope. Okay, that's fine. I will let her lope. And then I'm going to bring her back down. Let her know that it's okay. She doesn't have to be loping. Basically, I don't want her to go to thinking that every time I put my leg on her, that it is okay to kick out. Horses don't realize that it's good or bad or indifferent. They don't look at it as right or wrong. They just do what they think they need to do. And so she was confused. She kicked out. But at the same time, she has to realize that it's not okay to kick out just because I put my leg on her. And sometimes I'll swap out directions. She's gotten a little worried here, and I'm just going to kind of let her trot around, get some of that energy out. She's a little tight, a little tense. I'm just trying to guide her around a little bit so that she can figure out that some of the smaller circles, it makes them, it's harder to work in those smaller circles. And so letting them work in that smaller circle, it just kind of brings her back, hopefully to think about, oh, this is not that bad. You start to see her head drop there. That comes back up. But it does start to drop again here a little later. And then I ask her to go bigger. And you can kind of switch it up a little bit. And I ask her to lope. Because I want her to realize that it doesn't matter what we do. That leg going on does not mean that she needs to, you know, kind of have a little temper tantrum. And there she kind of got antsy. I don't remember if maybe that's where she spooked. Go back to loping again, make sure that she's going to be okay with that. And this is a smaller round pen. I have it zoomed out all the way, but it is a smaller round pen, so sometimes it is hard for some of these bigger horses to keep a steady momentum in there. There I got a little assertive when she really didn't want to stop. She kind of got lazy and heavy on me. And so getting her backed up off of my hands is really a big deal, because she likes to kind of be on her front end. She likes to, sometimes you can ask her to bend or steer one direction, and she kind of gives you the middle finger. Not horribly, but she kind of says, well, I don't think I want to go that way today, or I don't want to do that right now. You just have to deal with the horse that you have at that time. You know, what they do yesterday, you can keep that in the back of your mind, but don't expect it to be perfect as yesterday. Don't always expect that you can just pick up from where you left off. And some horses you can, and some you can't. This mare, especially since she's had 2 years off, the first time I saddled her, she surprisingly did really well. She didn't bug, she didn't do anything like that. She just saddled her up, lunged her, and got on, and she was pretty darn good. I was really happy. I was really surprised. But she does have her moments, you know, she does get a little worked up. That has always been one of her things, is she tends to get easily worked up, a little bit nervous. She is a little spookier. But that doesn't mean that that's something we can't work through. And so there she decided she was going to trot off by herself instead of just walk. And I'm just going to bend her back down, let her stand for a second before we continue. And if she does it, we'll do it again. There she's pulling on me a little bit. And that's okay. She trots off again. I've been working a little bit with her on just moving her front end and kind of doing a counter bend in a circle. And so that's been really a struggle for her as well. For her to understand that her nose can be tipped out as she makes that circle, as she makes that bend. That is, some horses struggle with it more in the beginning than others. And for her, it's been a really hard concept for her to say, yeah, my nose is bent out, but we're still going the opposite direction. And so that is something with her that she struggled with. Not the end of the world. She'll get there. There, her backing it's sluggish. It's, and then she kind of picked up a little bit, but then she likes to get heavy. She likes to put that head up. And so backing is another thing that she's been working on, in addition to backing some serpentines to make her a little bit lighter, just a little bit better. And she does struggle with this concept as well. So as we continue to practice, she will get better and better. So I hope y'all, watch for the next session with her. Hoping we'll have a little better session. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know.